Hello, everybody, and welcome to the School of Life with Sonny, where we talk about all things, everything, y'all. Learning from your own experience could be good, but it could leave you more hurt, more disappointed than learning from other people's experiences. So why not learn from other people's experiences? So we are going into the ministry. So I'm jumping right from life is spiritual and getting into the ministry. I've looked forward to talking about this, and today I have my hat on to help me because this hat speaks a lot. This heart is a sign of many things. And so I'm going to be talking about in the ministry in different aspects as the Lord is going to help me, but I am definitely honing into the pastor's wives. I said I do not talk about anything that I do not know. I do not talk about anything that I have not experienced. And so I love it when you learn from experiences. But before I continue, I wish I could remove my hat, but if I remove this hat, I might not know how to put it back without getting off this camera and going to my mirror. So consider this out and consider this respect that I'm giving to pastors' wives. I salute you. Hats off for all pastors' wives, lady pastors. God bless you so much. God bless you so much. I know the work that you do is not easy. I know that the burden that you carry is not easy. And I want to say thank you for allowing yourself to be an instrument. Thank you for allowing yourself to be to work so hard behind the scenes, even when no one notices, even when you're not acknowledged for it, even when you are disregarded for it. I want you to know that there's someone that sees, and he knows your work. Revelation says that he knows your work, he knows your service, he knows your charity, he sees your labor. He sees your labor in his work. And God is not a robber. God is not a robber. Yesterday someone told me God is not a thug. God is not a thug. He sees, and he's not going to allow anybody to steal from you as well. So God sees, God has been seeing you, and God continues to see you as you labor behind the closed doors, as you labor, as you handle things that nobody knows you handle. God knows and God sees. Secondly, I want to say I am so sorry. I am sorry for the tears you've cried in secret. I am sorry for the nights that you've stayed up thinking about maybe the congregants, thinking about maybe your finances, like someone else is going to school, your child is not going to school because you had to pay school fees for someone else, and I mean, you don't have money. You have to share time, like you're left crying, and someone is going to sort someone else's issues or some other people's issues. I know what I know what all that is. So I just want to say I'm so sorry for the times you felt deserted. I'm so sorry for the times you felt not heard. I'm so sorry for the times you felt not felt. I'm so sorry for the times that someone has felt this is ours, not this person is not yours. And I'm also sorry for the times that you've not had anybody to talk to, because whom do you talk to? You are the person to be talked to. No, it's not the other way around. I'm sorry that you are a support to so many people, but then you don't have support. May God see you through. May God watch over your life. May God watch over your children's life. May God hold your hand. So there's a time I had called for a meeting. Sometime I think in 2019. I'm gonna put the flyer here, and I had said, like, I'm calling for pastors' wives. And I'm calling for a specific kind of a pastor's wife, a specific group of pastors' wife, not the ones that are fully supported, not the ones that feel, I mean, I was calling for a hurting, I feel like I'm always called to the hurting people. I totally believe that that's my calling. You know, when God was crafting me, everything, even in my DNA, is like, you know, there's a car passing. Yeah, so everything in my DNA spells crafted to handle pain and crafted to comfort others who are going through pain with the same comfort that you've experienced. Meaning that in my life, I mean, there are parts, I mean, like, there's a lot of pain that I have experienced have experienced in pain in so many ways, in different ways, that I really believe that is one of my life's purpose, like to comfort those who are hurting, those who have been in trouble, in the same trouble that I have been in, because that is what the Bible says in Corinthians. Like, I feel like that is my purpose, like called or sent to comfort others with the same comfort I've received, the same comfort that I have been comforted with. So so I had called this particular group of people, of pastors' wives, and we were 5 in the meeting. And that time I was like really wanting to encourage and listen, because I realized, wow, this is a space that is lonely. This is a space that you'll find yourself you'll find yourself in isolation. You will find yourself isolated. You will either isolate yourself, or people will isolate you, because people will not understand you. Like, people don't understand that that you as a pastor's wife has issues, because people have refused to see pastors as men. They only see them as men of God, meaning that they could be perfect. They refuse to see them as husbands. Like, when you go back home, this is a husband. When you go back home, this is a father. But people just still have the same ideology. Like, what I see on the pulpit is the same kind of person that is at home. But that is not true. That is not true. So when I was thinking of talking about in the ministry and pastors' wives, I'll tell you, I had one person in mind. And when I think of pastors' wives, I would just think of one person, and I would be like, no, this is not what pastors' wives go through. But they're different. I mean, I've said again, people go through different experiences, and I don't want you to judge me from your own experience. And so I'm not here to talk to every pastor's wife. I'm here to talk about the person that relates with what I'm saying. So if you do not relate with what I'm saying, then this is not for you. This is not for you. But I know there's a small percentage or a big percentage. I don't know how the percentage is. I don't know whether the larger percentage is the percentage that has a full support, that has a lot of respect, or the larger percentage is of those people who have been disregarded, discredited, who don't have support. I don't know. I wouldn't lie and say that I've done that research. So anytime I thought of doing this, anytime I thought of the pastor's wives, actually I bought my hats in January, So I've been waiting, and I've been thinking about this thing since. And anytime I thought about in the ministry and pastors' wives, the first person that I always thought about was Reverend Kiunas. And why is because this is the first person that I was exposed to. Like, I come from a church that does not, or I came from a church that did not have, the pastor's wife's role. Like, I did not see that. It wasn't exemplified. I did not see that role. Like, I saw it when I went to Jubilee Christian Church. So anytime I would think about a pastor's wife, I would think about Reverend Kiunas. And I do this after the loss of Bishop Alan Kiunas, which is really sad, because I feel I'm a partaker of the work that he did. And because it was at JCC that I got my healing after my mom died. In 2001, when my last parent mom died, I was so angry with church. I was very, very angry. And church had not done anything to me. It was my own pain that was manifesting. And so I was like, I needed a break, and the place where I got a break from, I had never, ever, ever gone to another church. I had never, ever, ever, ever. I visited a different church. And the first church I visited was JCC. That time it was at Tintin Restaurant. That was in 2001. So I went there, and that is where I got my healing. That is where I would go, like, they used to have an evening service and a morning service. And because of, you don't have transport, or I don't have transport, I would hang around and I would wait for the evening service. And I was there travailing. I was there. Like, I was there at that altar, and I met God there. So when I say that my life was impacted, I mean in all ways, like emotionally, spiritually, physically, mentally, like the way of thinking, my way of thinking was really, really impacted by everything, that so many other things that I'm going to share a bit that happened in or at Jubilee Christian Church. So I got married in 2003, and of course I moved to my husband's church, and luckily Daughters of Zion started, and I started going to Daughters of Zion, and oh my God, if you have interacted with Reverend Kathy, it sounds funny when I call her Reverend Kathy Kiunas, but I want to call her that because I just want to stick to that, right? I want to stick to that for the purposes of my video. So anytime that you went to Daughters of Zion, an interdenominational meeting, a meeting that transformed so many of our lives, you left there wanting to know yourself more. You left that place wanting to live your purpose, wanting to love God more, and most importantly, don't say that, oh, now you see you're talking about marriage more than God. I said love God more. But one of the things that was outstanding was marriage and relationships and submission. And you left there wanting to uphold your marriage. You left there, those are the days that I used to wash my husband's feet every Sunday. Like, I'm telling you the impact where when I used to go to Daughters of Zion, I learned so much. Hold on, there's somewhere I'm going with this. So I like that there's so much that is said about Jubilee Christian Church. And I've said I'm starting here because anytime I think of in the ministry, this is the ministry that I have in mind. So a lot have been said about the church, and a lot have been said about many things, and I feel so many times it's people who don't know you have a lot to say about you. People who don't know you will listen to you say something, will listen to you say, oh, my handsome, and then they will just pick that, and they don't understand the context, And I learned that when you take a text out of context, it becomes a pretext, and that is what has circulated so many times. You just get you get clips of things that have been said, and people out there bashing and trolling without understanding the concept of a lot of things. So I learned so much, but I'm so happy because of all the things, of all the trolling that has always gone on. There are two things that I'm happy about, and coming again from talking of life is spiritual, I'm so happy that two things have not been misconstrued. I've never heard of, we don't worship the true God, like we don't worship God. I would hear stuff with, I was asked for money, which is your responsibility. Anytime you go to church, anytime you go to a ministry and you give money, that is not up to the altar. That is not up to the people who are preaching. That is up to you. Where is your spirit of discernment? Who told you to go to a bank to get a loan and come give to the church? That is up to you. The pastor is not going to go through offerings and say, oh, this person has given 300,000. This person given 400,000. Why did they give 400,000? And they start calling you, hey, were you sure that you are going to give this money? They're not going to do that, because I have been there, and I've seen people give up to $1 million bob. And people who are still millionaires today, and people who are still in the church today, the same church, serving God and praising God and loving God. So whatever makes you go to a bank, I'm saying that because I saw someone write, I saw someone write something like that, like, oh, I was made to go to the bank and take, I don't know how, a loan of how much, where is your spirit of discernment? Where is your spirit of discernment? That is unfortunately up to you and to anybody else. Like, whenever you're going to give an offering to church, it's between you and God. It's between you and your knower. Sort yourself out spiritually. Find out, am I supposed to give this money? And why am I giving this money? Sometimes God will ask you to give everything, but sometimes no. So by the time you're going to get a loan, why are you getting a loan? So that is not, honestly and unfortunately, that is up to you. That is up to you. That is your responsibility as an individual, as a Christian. It is up to you. So don't be an emotional giver. Seek God, and don't blame anybody when you give, because nobody's there to follow you up and find out like why you did that. The second thing that I'm happy about is that so I'm happy that when trolling is going on, I've never had stuff to do with the spiritual world. I don't want to say anything, because I don't want my message to be pulled, and I don't want it to be misconstrued. But I'm so happy that people know that this is a church that serves God. This is a church where we learned how to pray. Let me tell you, if there's a church that was praying, I'm saying was because I'm no longer, I'm no longer there to go for any of the meetings, So this is where I saw, like, Fridays, I saw couples praying, holding hands, like you pace. You pace holding hands, and you're praying together. So I am sure, and we are sure, that this is a place of prayer, a house of prayer. And if anything has built this ministry, prayers have. Prayers have. Then the second thing that has not been misconstrued is the love and relationship that has been exemplified in the house, or that has been demonstrated in the house. And I would say, without in my own world, and in my own from my opinion, that Bishop Alan Kiunas set the precedent of women being loved from the pulpit, women being appreciated from the pulpit. That is the first time I saw that. That is where I saw that, apart from seeing on the TV. That is the first time I saw that, like someone honoring and appreciating their wives. But I've also seen people talking a lot about like Reverend Kathy's submission and love for the husband. 100% true, correct. But today I just want to talk about Bishop a bit. I have had interviews upon interviews. I've also heard from Bishop himself, in his sermons, the love he had for his wife. So one thing I want to remind everybody, I know in this season people have been hearing this, that Reverend Kathy was never a preacher. She was not preaching. She had never preached. And she has said so many times, like, anytime we went out with Bishop, anytime we went preaching, I would tell him, please do not call me, please, I don't want to stand up and say hi to people, because she could not even speak before people. She could sing, but she was shy when it came to speaking. But I want to read for you something that Bishop Alan said. Bishop Alan said that from the day I made the decision to start church, I also decided that my wife would be the co-pastor, and I was determined not to leave her behind. I saw what was in her. So, as I started ministry, Bishop saw the wife from the end. He believed in her even more than she believed in herself. He actually called out the ministry in her, and it is he that started, birth. I would say he's the one that birthed Daughters of Zion. He's the one that said, my wife, you're called to women, you're called to raise the standard among women, you are called to minister to women. And he is the one that gave the ministry that is now going to be very, very big. He's the one that gave it. It's really huge. Diocese is a huge ministry, but I believe it's gonna be even bigger. He is the one that called it forth. And I'm saying that because this is one of the legacies that Bishop Allen has left. He is the one that called this ministry forth. He's the one that gave the ministry a name, Daughters of Zion. A platform that I have benefited from a lot. When my book was just a paper, my first book, And Scars Become Stars, when my book was just a paper, Reverend Kathy gave me an opportunity to speak at the Daughters of Zion. She believed in me so much. And I love her so much. And I really thank God for her. And let me tell you, I really respect Reverend Kathy, and that's why sometimes I just feel I really get hurt and offended when I see people talking about things they do not know, or I don't know what poor. Sonny, I invited Reverend Kathy to my function. I was a nobody. I was living in Eastlands. I had a function. I had an event in Bahati. An event for orphans. I was not giving any money. I was not a tither in that church. I was not, I want to say I was a nobody, and when I say I was a nobody, I did not have a reason, apart from being a child of God and apart from being someone who had a vision. There's nothing I was giving. There's nothing I ever gave. And I invited Reverend Kathy at my function to come as a speaker in Bahati, to come and speak to the orphans. And she came with her entourage. She came. She showed up 100%. She believed in me. She loved on me throughout. So, anytime I think of pastors' wives, I think of her. I believe that Kathy, she said that enough times, that she is the woman that she is because of the husband. She says, my husband is my mentor, or was my mentor. My husband is my bishop. My husband raised me. She's actually used those words. My husband raised me. Someone set a precedent, and when I say this, I am selling this to pastors. I am selling this to bishops, especially those people that serve with their wives. So this is here is a man who has a wife that he raised, a wife that he empowered. And again, I'm going to read something that he said. He said, let me see. He said, I am not intimidated that Kathy is known more than I am. I am focused on my assignment, and she is part of that assignment. And at the end of the day, Kiuna is my name. They do not know Kathy Karanja, a very confident person. And he has left a legacy in loving the wife, a legacy in allowing her to shine, a legacy in letting her be without being intimidated. And I am not saying that they were perfect. I have never heard Kathy say that they are perfect. From the pulpit, you go back and even watch their marriage encounters meetings, watch their men breakfast. They will never say that they are perfect. But there's a difference between issues and abuse. That is what I've always said. Please note, issues in marriage are there. They are inevitable. We are all human beings, and we are all prone to collide in one way or another. But there's a difference between a healthy relationship, a healthy man, and a healthy woman. There is a difference. So you're not talking about anybody that is perfect, but I'm talking about someone who is deliberate on building the wife, someone who is deliberate on being submissive to the husband. I'm talking about someone who is deliberate in working on what they have and seeing each other as the way God sees them. So if someone started their ministry with the mind of, this is going to be my partner throughout, this is going to be the person, this is going to be my co-pastor. This is what he said. This is going to be my co-pastor. But then compare that with people who start ministry and they're like, I want you to take a back seat. From inception, someone tells their wife, you are going to take a back seat. I do not want you at the forefront. And this is someone, you find a woman who has been serving God. You find a woman who has been preaching. You find a woman who has been serving God all their lives. And then you tell them before you even begin, you tell them, I want you to take a back seat. So compare that with someone who starts a ministry, seeing their wife, who is not even in the ministry, seeing them from the end. And then you have another person who is starting ministry and sees the wife from the end of whom they're not. Like you have already declared an end for them. You found them serving God. You found them doing ministry. And then you tell them, I want you to take a back seat. And I've said again, I do not talk about anything that I do not know. So when you're talking about in the ministry, this is the background I'm giving to pastors, to the bishops, to the men. Bishop Allen said, I wonder where I would be without Kathy. When I think about the last 4 years that Bishop has been unwell and has been in hospital, I see God's grace. He was being prepared to see his wife taking over, to see his wife ministering by herself. You're far, you cannot come in, you cannot give. I mean, there's some immediate guidance that you cannot give. You are just watching it. And I'm sure by the time he was dying, he died he died peaceful, knowing that you know what, I'm leaving whatever. I'm leaving a legacy. I'm sure he knew that I'm leaving a woman who is going to take this thing further. I'm leaving a woman who is going to continue with that which we started and we bought together. So this is just a wake-up call to men in the ministry. If not all women are called in the ministry, but I've seen, I don't know, I've seen women who are not even preaching or speaking. I don't know. It's the grace of God. I've seen women who get married to pastors, and they just become they just flow into that in that grace. I don't know how God makes it. Like you guys have seen, most of the pastors' wives maybe are singing, are leading worship, are leading prayers. As in I don't see many dormant. Especially if your religion, if your religion, I don't like religion. Especially if your church structure allows for the woman to serve and for the woman to lead in that way. I've seen so many. I mean, I see that is mostly how it is. You would always find the woman is also gifted, whether they are being raised by their husbands. There's that grace, but it's so sad when you as a man, you as a pastor, find a woman, or God gives you a woman whom he has polished, whom he has not polished let me take that back. It's sad for you as a man to be gifted or to be given a woman who is already gifted, who can do so many things in the ministry, for you to crush them, for you to bring them down, and for you to be intimidated by them. I mean, I just pray that that is not going to be part of your story as a pastor, that you're not going to be intimidated by your wife. I pray that what Bishop said and what Bishop did will minister to a lot of bishops, and people will be able to see that, I might be called in the ministry, but what if this is what I am called for? What if I am called to pay set and to start a course and then raise this other person for them to continue with the work of God? What if Bishop Allen had not raised Kathy? What if he had not empowered Kathy the way he had? What if he had not let her fly? What if he cut her wings? We wouldn't be having what we have. And I'm telling you, let me tell you, Like the couples that Jubilee Christian Church has raised are so many, so many. There's a lot of impartation when it comes to. You might not like it, you might not, but I'm telling you, when you talk from a distance, you can talk, you can say a lot of things. And I'm cognizant of people who have been hurt in the ministry. Nobody is perfect, and if you have been hurt in the ministry, there's a video I've done on God is not the man that hurt you. You'll be hurt in the ministry because, we are all not everyone fits everywhere. So you might not fit everywhere, and you might have been stepped on the wrong way. I am really, really cognizant of that. Nobody is perfect in any way, but looking at the greater good, looking at the lives that have been transformed. And I have said, I am not talking from any other person's experience. I am talking from my own experience. And so as I start and as I continue with this series of marriage, I know there are people who have been loved. I know there are pastors' wives who have been who have been upheld. But let me tell you, there is a number of women who have been crushed by the very hands that were supposed to hold them. And that is the group I'm talking to. That is the group I'm talking to. As I talk to the pastors, as I talk to the men of God, as I call the men of God to just change their ways, and let this be a lesson to you. Let this be a lesson to you. You are called for ministry. You are the one that was called. But who said you are the one who is going to be there eternally? Open your eyes and see what God is doing. Open your eyes and see what God is doing. I'm not saying that you raise your woman, that you raise your wife, but I'm just saying this is a moving thing. Don't sit there and despise your woman just because. So I'm talking about in the ministry. I did not know how to introduce this, but I'm talking about in the ministry, and I'm going to be talking about quite a number of things. So if you know of a pastor's wife, if you know of someone in the ministry, let them come along. And again, I've said I'm talking to a specific kind of people. So if this message is not for you, zoom out. God bless you. May God be with you. May God lead you in all that you do. Thank you.